Hello and welcome to the Gamers Table. It is Monday and we're reviewing Memoir 44.
From the opening minutes of D-Day to the liberation of Paris and beyond, Memoir 44 airdrops you into the key battles that turned the tide in Western Europe. Omaha Beach, Pegasus Bridge, St. Mary-Église, and beyond. Take command of your troops and rewrite the pages of history in those decisive days of 1944.
Yeah, there's not a lot of rewriting of history in these. The sides are set up and the battles are pretty much, they generally play out how they were.
So a lot of it's going to come down to dice rolls and stuff, and
So I guess if
decision of the cards you play and whatever.
So I guess if you're up for a challenge and you're good at this game, you want to take the side that historically loses for that extra challenge to see if you can
Yeah.
change
So,
the tide of history.
Like if you're teaching somebody this game, do the Omaha Beach, but play the Allies. Because the Germans are generally going to win that scenario. We got the game board. We got a ton of tanks and army guys and barricades and sandbags and
yeah, there's terrain types, buildings,
dice.
all kinds of equipment and stuff, vehicles, men, little blockades and pieces.
Lots of cards.
Lots of cards. You got cards to tell you what each terrain type does, and then you've got your command cards, which there's two different types. There's the actual section movements, and then there's other ones that like move or special. Let's see if I can find one.
so how you set this up
Card holders.
is you go to the one of the scenarios.
They're usually in the back of the book.
Yes, and it will show you a map of what different pieces you want to put on and what initial pieces go on for both sides.
And sometimes they'll have specific rules depending on the scenario you pick.
Yeah, and you will both get a hand of cards, 4 or 5, depending, again, sometimes the sides are even, sometimes they're not. And each turn, you will play one of these cards, act out what that card says on the board, resolve all the effects, then drop a new card, and then the other guy goes. And it just does that over and over and over again until the game is won by one side or the other.
Card choice is a big difference in this game. Otherwise, it's pretty much just the same thing over and over again like that. But the different scenarios is pretty good for variety. And some of them can be quite a challenge because they're, like Craig said, tend to be set up in favor of one side or the other.
So this game is what? Set up, fight?
Set up the map, get your cards, and fight, yeah.
You couldn't be more wrong.
So that
inside joke.
Yeah, that was just for us.
Yeah.
So one of the big things in this, of the two random bits in this, one is the cards that you only have access, as I said, to so many of them each turn. And sometimes it'll be, okay, yeah, you get to do this to 2 units on your right flank, or a unit on your left flank, or 1 unit in the center. Or you could possibly use one of the gray cards, as Ken was talking. This one allows an issue to 4 armor units, 4 of your tank, anywhere on the board, which makes that a lot more powerful card. So there are less of the gray ones, and you hold on. It's one of those games where you start holding on to your cards because, oh, this is a really good card. I want to wait until it's a good time to really give them that 1-2 punch, and then you realize, okay, I probably should have used this long ago because I'm getting slaughtered here.
Now the
two of my 1-2
change.
punch has already been destroyed.
Yeah,
The situation's change. It's fluid.
and the other option, the other random factor in this is the die rolls.
The dice.
Which, if you get an infantry guy, it's a hit on an infantryman. If you get a tank, it's a hit on an armored unit. If you get the grenade, it's a hit on a tank or an army guy unit or an artillery unit. Anything is blown up by that. Any flag you get will force one of the units to retreat, which kind of sucks. And the star
is a miss.
On some cards, it does a special thing, but most of the time, yeah, that's just a miss. And you roll a number of dice based on how many units you've sent out there.
I'm just looking at some of the other cards we got.
So this game is simplified miniatures, really. A simplified war game where you're not, got your laser pointer, your tape measures. It's all measured out by hexes. All the distance range is done by hexes. So there's no arguing as far as that goes, which is my biggest problem with miniature type games.
And all the different type of terrains have cards explaining exactly what they do. So if you say, okay, I've got a hedgerow between this tank and that tank. Okay, it's -2 range to this. Okay, that tank can't see the other tank from there, so we can't shoot him. It's very Heroescape-like in its. These are very simple, Just yes or no. You can
This
either
is a little more generalized for the pieces and stuff. Is the like specific? This character has this, and
Yeah.
you got all your cards, but you get cards for your standard units, and your special units. It flips it over. Then you got one for removable obstacles, and the other side is fixed obstacles. So you got these nice handy reference cards you can pass back and forth. Just to when it's your turn or something, or not your turn, just to remind yourself of what can be done, and for line of sight and what you can move around or what you can remove, stuff like that. Yeah.
Breakdown of the turn. How's that work?
You play one of your cards. So let's say for this one, okay, I play this.
He's right.
I play this particular card, which is Probe, which is issue an order to 2 units on the right flank. So if I'm playing the blue side, this is the right flank here.
But I'm on this side. The right flank's over here.
For you, yeah.
Oh.
Smart ass. So any two units up there I can choose to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I'm ordering this unit and this unit. So then I'm going to first move them up to the distance they can move. Okay, he's going to go there. And the
That sometimes differs on the train you're moving on, of course.
Yeah. And then, excuse me, and then every unit that you have ordered, you're going to fire with.
Within range, of course.
Yeah, checking all the range. The range is on here, so okay. Infantry's got a chance of 3, 2, 1 or close range. So the infantry, this guy is 1, 2, 3. Okay, he's too far away. My tanks have got 3, 3, 3. They've got 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, my tanks are going to blow up those guys right there. So then I would roll dice based on that. Haha. And I didn't get any hits. So I missed. That's it. I draw up a card to replace the one that I spent, and that's the turn. Ha!
Yeah, so you would declare all your battles at once, and then at the end resolve everything. And
Yeah.
like that. No, it's not do this and then decide what you're going to do over there. No, you have to declare everything all at once and then resolve everything, but one resolution at a time.
What happens if I don't have any cards that affect anything on the right flank? Am I stuck without not being able to move anything on my right flank?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
That kind of sucks.
Work with what you have.
Yeah, that is one of the random factors that can change the battle. If you're doing Omaha Beach and the Germans get left flank and right flank and nothing in the center, and the Allies come straight up the center, maybe that day the Allies do make it on without heavy casualties.
And you know what's kind of like that? We're getting stuck with the cards you draw.
Yeah, Kingdom Builder.
Kingdom Builder.
Hey, don't be hating on Kingdom Builder.
I'm not hating on it. I'm just pointing something out.
Yeah.
So yeah, the big thing, the cards and the dice, they add the random aspect to this.
Well, in a sense, it kind of simulates the realisticness of war, because you can only order so much. Sometimes units that don't necessarily move, or communication breakdowns that happen in war. Like, not everything is communicated very well in war. I mean, if communication was perfect, I think there'd be a lot less wars.
You know what? If you're in a trench getting shot at, maybe you don't got time to answer the radio for somebody to tell you to move.
Yeah.
So it does do a pretty good job. It's really simplified. A game does not take a long time to play out, which is really nice. Like they say 30 to 60 minutes is their reference. Like most of our games have gone around 30 minutes before it's okay, yeah, it's over. I've got my 5 victory tokens that I needed to win. I got 5 of your units destroyed. I win, yay. War.
But there are objectives in this too. It's not
war.
just last man standing all the time, is it?
No, sometimes it's specific units that need to be captured, or one of them it's you have to capture X number of towns and hold them for a turn. You can't just we got it. Well, now we pushed you out. No, I got to hold on to it. Got to stay here.
Yeah, a lot of these scenarios, they got the historical background, which is cool if you're a history buff, and you got the briefing, just how many cards you take at the start, conditions of victory, and sometimes there's special rules.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you got, of course, the map set up and all the stuff you need to set it up.
Yes, this board is double-sided. The other side is a beach. So they've got that.
Yeah, I just saw that in the one picture there. Yeah, it's on the other side. But the rule book is very good. It's nicely illustrated. Everything's clearly laid out. It's about 16 pages of rules, and the rest is the scenarios in the back half.
I gotta say, this is pretty much a 100% with Days of Wonder. They've always made rule books where every time we've got a question, it's actually answered in the rule book.
Which is good, yes.
Yeah. Wrapping up for Memoir 44. The theme.
War.
Yeah, it's pretty much a real simplified, but a really good simulation of those type of battles. It is definitely a disconnect from the visceral sort of thing that you see in movies nowadays.
This could be Bob, but no, there's no name on him.
That's Private Ryan.
A generic dude.
Okay.
I suppose you can name them if you want, but there's no special dudes.
Easy to play. Yeah, really easy to play. There are very few steps in it. Everything is very clear about how far they shoot and what they can shoot. And if there's stuff in the way, it tells you that too. So you know, both sides know. So you can look at that, yeah, those tanks can't hit me. And the other guy goes, no, I can't hit him with those tanks. But you're also sitting there saying, but I got this card that's going to move a bunch of my tanks. He doesn't know I'm going to clobber him and he hasn't killed my tanks. And fun to play. Depends. Because it's so short, it doesn't really get much time for hard feelings or anything like that. But if you know history, every one of these battles, you're going to know which side to take and which kind of tactics to use, because historically that's what worked. So in that way, it can be, if there's somebody who knows history against somebody who doesn't know history, you have a bit of an advantage there. I give Memoir 44 a 7.5.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, that a lot of the cards, it can be depend on what you draw, what you're able to do. And most games, you know, if you're not getting the cards you really need to pull something off, it's going to be hard going. And that can happen quite a bit in this one, as well as like plenty of other games. But yeah, it's really fairly simple, and the games aren't too long, so it kind of makes up for that. You know, if it was taking 3 hours to play and it all depended on luck of the draw and stuff, then it'd kind of suck. But this one is fairly quick, and you know, it can be maybe weighted towards one side or something. But again, you might be able to make up. You might get lucky with your card draws. Who knows? So dice rolls and stuff. But I like the different variety of scenarios. I like the historical background for each of the scenarios and stuff. The pieces and the quality of the game is, construction is very good. I like the handy cards and everything like that. So even if you do get a poor luck in the draw and stuff like that, it's still a fairly fun game to go through because, like I said, it doesn't take that long. So I enjoy it quite a bit. Well, a fair bit anyway. Sometimes the randomness can hurt, but I'm going to give it a 7.
Not a huge fan of the theme. I'm not a super war guy. Like, I'm more into the fantasy war. That's a little more detached from. Like, I'm not a big fan of war periods. So, but it's a fun game for the most part. Like, it's realistic in a sense. It can be frustrating when you really need to move certain units and you don't have the card to. It could be a little frustrating in that sense, but it could be a good frustration sometimes, I guess. The dice rolls are, well, it's dice, so
yeah.
Not a huge fan of dice either, but it is a very solid game, and the rule book and everything looks very nice. It's a well-played game. It's just not my type of game. I give Memoir 44 a 7.
So that's it for this episode of the Gamers Table. Tune in next time where we review another game.
Because that's what we do when we have